Luke behind the bar has actually been working on getting a comp going on behind the bar, which is a sort of thing I'm practicing for at the moment. That's why I'm training so hard. Would be just a massive FLAIR comp behind the bar, getting everyone in from Southland to come in and watch us boys go at each other.
As I said earlier, I've been trying to improve my working FLAIR. Exhibition FLAIR is kind of outdated a little bit these days, so my working FLAIR's taken a bit of a leap. I've been kind of focusing on more my speed than anything, because I think that flaring is unnecessary unless it's a relatively relaxed and quiet evening or day and there's people around who actually want to see it. I think people appreciate it more when you can get your drinks to them on time. So I've been practicing on doing my working FLAIR but with speed as well.
Yeah, we've got an idea to have a bit of a battle of the bartenders for TGI Fridays, which we hope to be doing kind of like middle or end of November. We've got a really good team now, and a pretty good technical team, and we've all kind of regained the kind of passion for doing it. So we're all kind of practicing. It's good to see, when we're on our breaks or before our shifts, the bartenders are having a crack out here on the floor, and practicing hard and working hard to get better. And yeah, so we want to do a bit of a competition, which is pretty much a showcase disguised as a competition to kind of show everyone what we've got and what we can do. And that's probably the biggest project at the moment, is trying to organise a pretty decent sized competition with a lot of spectators and a good structure to it. And that's pretty much one of the things on the plate at the moment. A good bartender really cares about what they're doing. All too often you'll go to a bar and, it's pretty hard not to be critical, but when you'll ask for a round of drinks and they don't want to be there, or they don't care, or they don't care, about if you're enjoying yourself, or they don't care if you have to wait 5 minutes for your drinks. You've got to care if you care, then obviously you're going to care about what you're doing, what other people see you doing, and what the other people are experiencing, and if they're enjoying themselves or not. A good bartender's got to be able to talk. Got to be able to talk to anyone, from a group of 18-year-olds who have just started going out, to a group of 25-year-olds on a Bucks night, to a 50-year-old couple, or a couple of old pensioners that are coming and drinking beers at your bar. You've got to be relatable to pretty much anyone, and a lot of it is talking shit, but you've got to be able to talk shit. You've got to be able to fill in the gaps, and you've got to be able to make people feel comfortable. That, above everything else, I think trumps technical skill. Obviously technical skill is important, but you've just got to be able to talk, and if you can talk shit to anyone, then chances are you'll be a pretty good bartender.
I think your awareness is the most important thing in bartending. Being aware of who you're serving, being aware of what you're serving, being aware of what's coming up next. You've got to be proactive about things. It's fair enough to be able to pour 100 beers a minute, to be able to, flair and be the best FLAIR bartender there is. It's fair enough to be able to make, crazy cocktails, but if you're doing all these things and you're not washing your glasses, and if you're not cleaning your bar top, then you're going to come halfway through the night, you're going to be stuffed, So it's about being aware, being proactive, and just being comfortable with yourself, It's obviously also your technique's a big thing. You've got to know the logistics and the physics of drinks. You've got to know what drinks mix well. You've got to know what fruits mix well. You've got to know what kind of complements everything else. You've got to know your food. You've got to be you just got to be aware of people. You got to be good with people in general. I mean, you're going to be dealing with different types of people every single day, and different types of people who are getting drunk, which alters their personality. So you got to sum someone up when they walk into a restaurant. You got to know exactly what they're going to do after they've had a few drinks, and you've got to be confident. You've got to be a bit cocky. I mean, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance and cockiness, but you got to be on that line. You've got to be out there. You've got to make people aware that you're above them. It's not your other co-workers. I'm talking about the people who you're serving. You've got to be aware that they've got to be aware that you are controlling them, not the other way around. Because once you let people get on top of you, bartending, it's all downhill. It's very hard.
Confidence, just your work ethic has to be really good. Just have to know your recipes. Like, there's so many different cocktails you have to know. Like, a guest will come up to you and go, make me a cocktail, and you'll be like, what do you like? You have to go like, do you want a fruity cocktail? Do you want like a sweet cocktail? So you need a lot of knowledge on being a bartender, and also just have fun. Like, keep the guests entertained while you're behind the bar. Make them actually want to be there and enjoy themselves. That's it.
Just practice. Just practice as much as you can. It's something that you won't get at first, and ask for advice for people who know what they're doing on your technique. It's all about your technique. I mean, you're not gonna get far if you don't know the physics and the basics of liquor and how your tins and how your bottles are weighted. You need to do a bit of research before you go into it. You can't just go into throwing bottles around, which is basically what I did at first, like as I mentioned earlier. But when I started working with someone who knew what they were doing, it made it a lot easier for me, and try and get yourself involved with people who are better than you, because as long as you're kind of not competing, but being around people, bartenders who are better than you, better at flairing than you, you're going to learn new tricks, you're going to be improving yourself, because I mean, when you're the best at your sport or at your, bartending, whatever you're doing, you're never going to sort of reach that high level. So, try to surround yourself with people who know what they're doing and who are better than you.
Just continue to learn and try and surround yourself with people that are better than you and more knowledgeable than you. Ask questions. The only way to get from where you are to where you want to go is to ask questions and to seek advice. And yeah, look, if you want to get into the kind of competitive or performance style flairing, then you got to practice. Simple as that. It's the same as any competitive sport. You've got to practice and you've got to put in the time. And that's the only way to get yourself from here to the top. So questions, advice, and practice. It's pretty much the only way to go.
Just going to bars and watching people flair. When I first saw it, I was intrigued when I first saw it. I was like, these guys get to stand behind the bar and throw bottles around and get paid for it, and it just looked really cool. And I just by watching people, just because I obviously enjoy the odd drink, so I go to a few bars, and just watching people how they move around and how they work, and being interested in bartending myself, I kind of just got into it, just fell into it.
Look, pretty much when I first started bartending, there was my ex-boss, who I first started out with, had a couple of videos, and we saw the videos of, this is going back a few years ago now, so probably saw videos, probably like mid to late 90s is where it really started to become a recognised kind of sport, like an exhibition kind of sport. And I saw a couple of early like Quest for the Best bartender videos, and just kind of thought, wow, that's some pretty insane kind of stuff, and it looks good. And yeah, kind of thought to myself, I'll never be able to do that, or I'll never even start trying. But yeah, when I first started taking bartending seriously in my first job about 3 years ago now. So yeah, you pretty much you look for the top of the game straight away when you're kind of first starting something. And yeah, I pretty much knew about it from, well, obviously the movie Cocktail, but to kind of see where it's gone from there to where it's come to now. It's quite incredible. It just keeps going, like getting bigger every single day. So yeah, I've known about it for a while, but I only really known about its grand scale when I first started bartending.
I first discovered it when I started working here. Saw a few guys on the bar throwing a few bottles around, and I just loved it. And also saw Tom Cruise on Cocktail, and yeah, and I haven't stopped doing it since. It's good.